What happens if humanity wins? Now, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a philosopher, and I'm certainly not a science fiction scholar. This all started when I heard an interview with economist Yanis Varoufakis on the channel Breaking Points. What he said led me down a rabbit hole of researching different sci-fi universes, just to discover that they all seem to be exploring the same basic question. What happens to humanity when survival is no longer life's main concern? Yanis Varoufakis explains that he's a big Star Trek fan, and explains how the show displays the best example of libertarian communism. Nobody really works, because they have machines doing all the work, and replicators simply create anything they could ever need on the spot. Therefore, there's no economy. So what do? On the show, for the most part, people spend their time exploring the galaxy and having philosophical conversations. Because while machines handle all of the chores, people still have a desire to engage in a labor of love, like writing poetry, composing music, or producing video essays. Regardless, when I heard that, my first thought was, political ideologies. What are they really? Political theory is something constructed by people. Therefore, just like any other of our constructs, they are solutions to perceived problems. A key but often overlooked part of Karl Marx's vision of communism is that it depends on abundance. He figured that the Industrial Revolution could produce so much that basic needs could be met for everyone. Marx argued that once society actually has enough to go around, then it becomes possible to organize life around the idea of from each according to their ability to each according to their needs. So we have to consider the possibility that political ideologies are not necessarily right or wrong. Perhaps their success hinges upon societal circumstances, which is what makes science fiction so fascinating. It's a medium to explore those circumstances, allowing us to explore questions like, what would really happen if scarcity and the struggle for survival is entirely eliminated? Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry is no doubt an idealistic view of what could happen. Humanity has solved its material problems. Replicators means no one goes hungry. Advanced medicine means very few ever die young. The Federation is a post-scarcity society where money is obsolete. So what do people do? They join Starfleet. They explore the galaxy, seeking out new life and new civilizations. They have philosophical conversations on the holodeck. They become artists, scientists, and diplomats. Star Trek says, give humanity freedom from want, and we will become our best selves. But is it that simple? Because that clip of Yanis Varoufakis continues, in which he touches upon an obvious but crucial problem. Who owns the replicators? If the means to a post-scarcity society is under corporate control, if it's in the hands of the 0.001%, then you don't get Star Trek. You get Cyberpunk by Mike Pondsmith, which introduces a world with post-scarcity capabilities, but not post-scarcity access. All the resources, infrastructure, and technology exists to create a post-scarcity world, but it's all owned by megacorporations that restrict access to it. If Star Trek was asking, what if technology freed humanity from scarcity? Cyberpunk is asking, what if technology freed the people who owned it? It's essentially an exploration into what happens when capitalism operates without a powerful regulatory counterbalance. Going back to Karl Marx, he points out that capitalism doesn't necessarily lack abundance, it lacks equal access to it.
She answered me on their philosophy, their way of seeing, the roads that they walk. Dead ends, empty, as if technology can solve anything.
Ulysses is obviously speaking about something much broader than just technological progress, because technology can and has solved a lot of problems. That's the entire point of it. But what it can't quote-unquote solve is human nature. Technology can change the world, but people still want more than the person next to them. More power, more wealth, more status. And this manifests itself into what we can see in our own reality. The internet promised to connect us and provide open access to the accumulation of human knowledge. Instead, we have social media built with algorithms optimized for outrage, fragmenting society. Dating apps are changing the very fundamentals of human peer bonding. And AI is beginning to concentrate enormous amounts of economic power in the hands of those who control it. Our technology is very advanced, but our institutions couldn't keep up. We already possess the technology necessary to build a post-scarcity world. But despite what Star Trek might have you believe, is that really a good idea? Let's say it works out. and everyone has everything they could ever possibly want. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley takes this to the extreme. This is also a universe in which technology has solved everything. People are biologically engineered to fit into a rigid caste system, conditioned from birth to love their assigned roles. Psychological conditioning through a hypnopedia eliminates jealousy, possessiveness, and the desire for deep relationships. Citizens are taught from infancy to embrace the state mantra: everyone belongs to everyone else. Then there's Soma, a government-issued drug that provides instant, joyful escape from any negative emotion. All this together creates a world that is perfectly stable. There's no war, no poverty, and everyone is happy. But there's also no art, no love, no struggle, no meaning. Brave New World is material abundance coupled with complete psychological stagnation. It's saying that engineered happiness is hollow, that without the struggle of survival, we essentially become domesticated. Without struggle, we may choose comfortable stagnation over self-actualization. So instead of engineering happiness, what if we engineer more struggles instead? Dune by Frank Herbert decides that this is the answer. In the Dune universe, humanity once had advanced AI machines that did everything, but it explores the idea that struggle is the engine of evolution, suggesting that if humans got too comfortable, we would stagnate, we'd become soft.
That thing on your wrist, it's a convenience. It tells you where to go, what to do, dulls your brain.
Thus came the Butlerian Jihad. Humanity rebelled against all thinking machines, destroying everything from advanced AI tech all the way down to simple calculators, intentionally crippling their own technology. The only way to travel through space is by using a drug that mutates them, a substance that is only found on one extremely harsh desert planet, reintroducing scarcity. But even so, the God Emperor Leto II deliberately imposes 3,500 years of brutal, artificial scarcity, because his vision into the future reveals that if humanity continues on its current path, they will eventually be enslaved, either by machines, by tyrants, or by their own complacency. His solution was to become the ultimate tyrant, force humanity to suffer, to struggle, to starve. Not to break their will, but instead to build it, to inspire them to oppose centralized power and to spread throughout the galaxy, ensuring that humanity could never wholly be destroyed. Voltaire said that if there is no God, then we should create it. Herbert says, if there are no struggles, then we must engineer it. But what if we eliminate struggles and it actually works out? In fact, what if it works out far too well, to the point where you literally create a god? The Eldar from Warhammer 40k perhaps takes the darkest, most nihilistic answer to our question. Now, the Eldar are not human. In Warhammer, humanity itself wasn't as proactive as the inhabitants of Dune. They also had advanced AI robots, but the robots rebelled and almost drove humanity to extinction. The Eldar, meanwhile, are basically space elves with more potent emotions than humans, but they still offer an appropriate point of view. You see, the Eldar were also finished. Disease, hunger, aging, they had it all figured out. And what happens when you wake up day after day with nothing that needs to be done? You get bored. And when you get bored, you partake in recreational activities by either enjoying or creating art. But after enough time, everything that can be done will be done. Lest the boredom return, you start engaging in things that shouldn't be done. Eldar art became more and more extreme, more perverse, violent. An entire galaxy-wide civilization became so obsessed with sensation, so consumed by their own desire, to such an excessive degree that it gave birth to a literal god, Slanesh, the prince of pleasure and excess. Aldous Huxley argues that if left unchecked, our desires will stagnate us. Frank Herbert argues we'll become too soft to survive. Warhammer 40k argues that unchecked desires will consume us entirely. Technology may have solved our needs, but it can't quite solve our desires. The Eldar relinquished their struggles only to devolve into an economy of suffering, which is a very important distinction to make. Something I discovered while wondering how Star Wars fits into all this. Knights of the Old Republic 2, written by Chris Avlon, introduces us to Kreia. While on Nar Shaddaa, you can choose to help the refugees there. If you do, Kreia tells you at the end that this is their future.
Nar Shaddaa shall persist as it always has, But there will be a heart to the world where there was nothing before, where once the lost and disposed were trapped there. Now they will struggle and grow. From despair shall come hope.
While on Nar Shaddaa, you see that the people there were trapped. For most of them, there was no way to progress to anything better. Kreia is making a distinction between struggling and suffering. Suffering is just pain. It doesn't teach, it doesn't build, it just breaks. Struggle, on the other hand, is the friction of existence. It's what forces us to adapt, to grow, to become stronger. It's necessary. And believe it or not, but this is a Sith teaching.
Without strife, your victory has no meaning. Without strife, you do not advance. Without strife, there is only stagnation.
My initial question was, what happens if humanity wins? But this is where I realized that I may have been asking the wrong question. You see, I've essentially been defining winning as the elimination of struggles, when survival is no longer the main concern. Because when we look through the universes I've mentioned, struggles never quite went away, or at the very least, they didn't stay away. Perhaps the real question to explore isn't what happens when we eliminate struggles, but instead we need to ask, what happens when technology changes the role of struggle itself? Star Trek eliminated everyday struggles, but the people voluntarily replaced them with new ones. The struggles of space exploration, diplomacy, and continued scientific pursuit. I like to think that if I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd still keep making these videos, just out of a desire to have people listen to what I have to say. Dune deliberately preserved struggle, but arguably took it too far. To figure out which struggles to preserve and which to eliminate requires wisdom. I hate feeling out of breath, but I still do my best to exercise, because I understand the benefits of that kind of struggle. So an individual might have sufficient wisdom, but collectively as a species remains to be seen. Warhammer 40k eliminated struggles for various races, including humans and Eldar, but fighting against struggles only resulted in its inevitable and brutal return, for humanity in the form of constant galactic-scale wars, and for the Eldar in the form of cosmic horror. Cyberpunk concentrates struggles towards the majority and only minimizes it for a few. The rich have abundance, but they still have their own struggles, even if those struggles mainly involve maintaining their abundance at the expense of everyone else. Even the people at the very top still have their own issues. Brave New World actually successfully eliminated struggles, but in its place, you have stagnation, a society of happy, comfortable, meaningless lives. The removal of struggles only came at the price of our very humanity. There's something in us that needs that friction.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world, where none suffered, where everyone would be happy?
The first Matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless, sublime.
It was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost.
A triumph equaled only by its monumental failure.
Some may think that technology will set us free, while others believe that it will destroy us. But whether it's the wheel or advanced artificial general intelligence, at the end of the day, all technology is a tool. Tools that mirror whatever we are. If we're greedy, cruel, or curious, we design technology to be more cruel, to feed our greed, and satisfy our curiosity. So the question isn't what technology can do. The question is, what will we do with it? And that's not a technological problem. That's a human problem. Technology doesn't eliminate struggle. It transforms it. Sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
It is but the vibration of minds driven by life's struggles. The struggle to feed, to take, to mate, to fight. It is the way of things.
And maybe that's why science fiction keeps returning to these ideas. Because science fiction isn't really trying to predict the future. It's an exploration of humanity under hypothetical situations. And because of that, I don't have a neat conclusion for you. As you've seen from my examples, everyone has a different idea on how humanity would respond in a society with advanced technology built to free us from life's struggles. We could become explorers or cattle. We could engineer new struggles, succumb to our base desires, or maybe even engineer a new god to worship.
You will soon have your God, and you will make it with your own hands.
But I think we can all agree on one thing.
Ask what happens after the end.
The question is worth asking. That's why the science fiction genre is so abundant. During my research, I came across other franchises, some of which I had never even heard of, like the Culture series by Ian M. Banks, The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin, The End of Eternity by Isaac Asimov, and The Player of Games, also by Ian M. Banks. So what will become of humanity with advanced technology? I don't know, but I'm glad that we asked the question. We'll find out the answer if we ever get there. Thank you for watching. A big thank you goes out to all my channel members as usual for still sticking with me. I really hope you enjoyed this one. It's been on my mind for months. But until next time, have a good one.